live recording this right now. We're recording this early, Chase, Friday, December 5th, sometime in the afternoon right now, recording before the Big 12 football title game. And we got to get this out because I'm traveling to New York. We want this out on Sunday for you. Have plenty of time to listen to this before the Clemson game on Tuesday. Today's show, Clemson preview. So we can't, Chase, we can't react to anything football related. Let's pretend real quick just to get it out of the way. Man, this really sucks. BYU got screwed out of the college football playoff. Now your turn.
What? Let's go Cougs. Playoff bound. Big 12 title. We'll cut those up depending on how it goes.
Yeah.
Also, I like how you always say we're live. We're recording this right now. Like, when else would we be recording this? Of course, it's right now.
But I said the date.
You said like right now. It's like, well, yeah, we're recording it right now. We're not
I don't know. It's just something I say. All right. We'll just
don't change it. Don't change it. Don't change it.
It's fine. I'll change it.
No,
I
like it. No. Come on, man. I like it.
Yeah, we're recording this right now.
I'm just saying. We're recording this right now. Yeah, just
December
in case
5th.
anyone was worried.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
If you're an audio listener right now, I'm just like a girlfriend that's just looking out the window and just like, no, I'm not mad. No, I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, Carter, would you even do this podcast with me if I was never born?
It just started. Would you still want to do this podcast with me if I was a worm? All right, let's get out of this. This is stupid. Anyhow, Clemson BYU, Jimmy V Classic, Madison Square Garden. I cannot wait to get there for this one. ACC game. Bart Torvik right now has BYU favored by 4.5 in this one. They're projecting this game to be 76-72. We'll dive into a ton of Clemson stuff here in a second. But Chase, initial thoughts going into this game.
Initial thoughts. First off, shout out Jimmy V, an absolute icon of the sport, and the sport's better because of him, and he's an amazing guy. It's an honor to play in it for BYU. I think always really cool, and to have it obviously at Madison Square Garden, back to back, 2 massive games. It'll be they'll be the marquee of that night. As always, the schedule is awesome, and that'll transition to what I think about this Clemson team. The BYU's had a lot of these opponents that it's just like, okay, BYU should be winning this, which is different than what we're used to because they're formidable opponents. Like, this will probably end up being a quad 1, maybe a quad 2 game. Whereas we're used to a non-con where they just smoke everyone, maybe have one tough one, maybe not. But to be able to talk about BYU, and I was just doing this, I was like, okay, BYU should win as I'm doing this preview. It's just such a switch up, and the tables have turned, and BYU's found themselves. Of course, they're a top 10 team. If you're listening to this, like, duh, like you're talking about the number 9 team in the country here. I'm just saying it's different than what we're used to. Talking about BYU, we're doing it as if they are a legit contender, and they are. So that being said, I think about Miami and Dayton and Wisconsin, and they all seem like similar tiers when we talk about as far as level of opponent here. I think Dayton surprised us a little bit, but the Miami-Wisconsin tier is about where I put this Clemson Tigers team, and that there's no disrespect to them. Maybe I'd view them as a little more dangerous than the other teams they've faced, so BYU needs to give them all the respect. If you're listening to this and you're doing your own Clemson little preview here, you're probably looking at that Alabama game the other night, and it was fairly close. It was a second half game. I think Bama jumped out to what, Carter, like a 15-point lead there.
Almost 20, yeah.
Almost 20 at some point. And Clemson found a way to chip their way back into it and figure out to make that close. Bama ended up pulling away. They shot a ton of free throws. Bama did, and then, of course, played with their insane pace. But going into this, here's what Clemson likes to do, from what I see at least. They're a super balanced team. You have a stat that I'll let you share about that. I won't steal your stuff. But they play a legitimate 7, 8, 9 deep guys. A lot of dudes on this team are getting minutes. I think there's 10 guys who are getting double-digit minutes this season. And you can talk about bye games, whatever, but even in these big games, this Alabama game, they played their bench. they went into it and they played a legit 9 guys. So there's going to be a lot of different lineups that BYU is going to have to counter, a lot like BYU did last season. It's also super balanced scoring, a lot of it from the inside. They have a decent clip from 3 at 32.8%. They have the big men that like to stretch the floor, which we saw BYU struggle with in Nebraska. I don't know if it's going to be that shooting night, if they'll ever see that again, to be honest. But tons of balance on this floor, Karter. Most of it coming from inside their production, and a real half-court team, I'd say.
Definitely a real half-court team. Brad Burnell wants to slow it down. I think this is a classic Brad Burnell team. And if you guys, or if you're a BYU fan, you aren't familiar with Clemson, Brad Burnell, a heck of a coach. Outside of Danny Hurley, this is going to be the best coach BYU faces in the non-con. He does not get the credit he deserves. He's worked with not super talented rosters in years past. And I think this is kind of one of those rosters where you're not blown away by the talent by this Clemson team, but it's just such a well-coached, disciplined Brad Burnell team. They don't turn over the ball. They play super, super tough defense. And like you mentioned, it's super balanced scoring. Their leading scorers averaging like 12 points a game right now. And the stat I'll share with you as well is they lack the explosive heat check guys where nobody on this team can go off for 30 in a given night. Nobody on this team this year has scored 20 points in a single game yet coming into this one. And they've scored tons of points this year. Like they've scored 88 points or more in 5 different games this season already. So they can score the ball. It was interesting watching that Alabama-Clemson game because I think that is the blueprint against Clemson right now because they want to slow it down. When Alabama was actually getting out in transition, the problem with Alabama is it distorts people's brains because when Alabama hits threes, yeah, they're unstoppable and everything. But when Alabama's not hitting threes, they're one of the worst basketball teams you've ever watched. They don't play defense. You give up a billion layups, and that's how Clemson gets back into that game. But in that first half, when Alabama's truly getting out in transition and getting those layups, Clemson was like, we have no answer for this. Absolutely no answer for this. And you can dial that back a little bit. It doesn't have to be full gas pedal like Alabama does. You can't let Clemson slow this game down, get into their half-court offense, and more importantly, get into their half-court defense because I think coming into this game, they're going to be okay playing one-on-one on BYU. They're not going to send a lot of help to AJ. They're going to let RJ Godfrey play one-on-one against AJ, honestly, in this spot. And they're very, very comfortable taking time off the clock, running it down, wearing you down defensively. This is what they want to do. BYU's got to get out in transition in this game, make it uncomfortable for them, force them to shoot threes, and speed up the game a little bit because that's not what they want to do.
Absolutely. And like you said, if Clemson really is going to go one-on-one, it's going to leave a lot of opportunities for Rob Wright, AJ, and Richie, honestly, to get to the basket. And
yeah, it's going to be weird, though, because I think this is going to be maybe besides UConn. I think this is even tougher than UConn for AJ, to be honest. This is going to be AJ's toughest matchup this year, I think, one-on-one so far in the non-con. When conference play starts, well, that'll be a different story. But so far in this non-con, like RJ Godfrey versus AJ DeBance is going to be fascinating. Then the other fascinating matchup is former Utah guy Jake Walleen. I think I'm saying his name right. Walleen. When he played against BYU last year, he was guarding Richie and some Mawit Mag at times, and he's 6'10". So, how does Richie respond to that? He played okay in both those Utah matchups, but it's going to be really interesting for BYU because this Clemson team actually matches up pretty well defensively.
Exactly, and for BYU, we're going to need to see a lot more of that vision that we saw this past weekend against Cal Baptist. Of course, it was Cal Baptist, but their ability to drive and kick there, look for open guys, especially AJ, right, in those moments, is going to be important here because I think eventually, right, Clemson's going to break down, Rob Wright's going to get to the hoop, and it's going to only be about who's open, can you make the passes. And that's pretty much the blanket statement for BYU this season. We've talked about it. They're a really good team when they pass the ball and they're finding open guys. And then, of course, they got to hit the shots. I'm interested in the defensive matchup for BYU. We've seen an increase in their intensity as the season's gone along. I think they need to bring it extra for this game. The circumstances are, I think they're probably used to it by now. They've played a ton of neutral site games. They're flying across the country again, right? They're playing in the Garden. It's Jimmy V Classic. It's going to be pretty cool for experience for all those guys. So you got to bring your own energy in a building like that, in an environment like that. And I think with Clemson, you got to be prepared. Like we said, balanced attack. Can you guard everyone properly? Because you don't need to throw a lot of attention exactly on one guy. I mean, you can look at Godfrey probably as your biggest matchup and your biggest threat. Put your best defender on it. Probably be AJ. To be honest, they'll probably just go one on against each other.
I'll let me get out in front of this one. If they put Jake Walling on AJ DeBonsa in this game, it's barbecue chicken.
Chicken, and everyone's.
It is going to be 2 fouls by the under 8. They're not even under 16. Clemson's going to have to call a timeout 2 minutes into the game if that's the matchup they want to go with there. And Clemson can play small ball 5 too. They can throw a lot of different lineups out there too. Like you talked about, they run 9, even 10 deep at times.
Yeah. So for BYU, that means you got to play good help side defense while also not abandoning your guy. I think this is an unselfish Clemson team who finds ways to get to the basket and score. And like I said, they're a modest 3-point shooting team collectively, but there are some real good shooters on this team. Carter Welling, big man, can stretch the floor, shoots 39%.
Shout out Utah Valley.
Shout out Utah Valley. Dylan Hunter shoots 42% from 3. Jake Walling shooting 40% from 3. Those are some of the guys that you're going to need to neutralize, right, and not let threes kill you in this game. Godfrey, you can play off him. I think he's only taken 3 this season and made none. He's not a 3-point shooter, so you'll be able to pack in the paint a little bit with him.
0 for 2 on threes for the year.
0 for 2, yeah. Not his game. But I expect Clemson to try and pull Kevaketa. They've watched the film. They know he's going to be looking to block shots. They're going to pull him out with the Carter Welling stuff, right? Force him to play and respect the 3-pointer from him, and then try to get Godfrey in the paint, doing his work one-on-one without the presence of Kevaketa there. So BYU is going to need to be really sound on their switches, on their communication, while not overextending and overhelping. I think defensively one-on-one, BYU's got, I think they can hold their own. And that's, again, I'm not trying to be offensive to Clemson, but I think BYU one-on-one is a good matchup for pretty much anything on the floor here. So I would expect BYU, and what I would hope is that they just trust each other and don't overextend on this help side defense. That's when BYU especially, but any basketball team, just gets really, really burned, and they can leave open these deadly shooters who are shooting 40+% from 3.
We saw that in the first half of the UConn game, where it's just you're leaving open dudes out left and right, and even in Villanova. I mean, and those are earlier in the season, and you build up the chemistry and everything. I understand that, but you're right. Like, we've seen that before, where BYU overextends right there. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, and the other aspect offensively, and this is the last thing I'll say, is, I mean, the AJ versus RJ Godfrey matchup is going to be, I think, a lot with this game, and it's going to come down to the foul trouble, because like I said, RJ is going to be 15 feet and in all night long. AJ's got to play big. He's got to be physical. He's got to be strong, but he cannot get in foul trouble here. And I think that's what Clemson's going to want to do. And on the opposite end, I think AJ needs to be able to draw these fouls to get to a point where he can be dominant from the free throw line. We saw that the first part of the season. He slowed down the past couple games. Can he get back to being aggressive, getting those calls and getting those easy free throws in? But on the defensive end, he's going to really have to be big and be strong. They're going to pull away that help from Kaba. Like I said, he's going to need to play one-on-one defense without fouling to stay on the floor for BYU.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start with the AJ fouling stuff, because I think that's a great point. Because if you're defending AJ this year, flop. That's just his quick secret. He likes to push off. He likes to lower shoulder. These charge happy refs, they want to call it. I've said it 1,000 times. They want to call that. They want to make that call. He's got to be careful there. And Godfrey can stay in front too, as much as possible, as much as anybody can against AJ, which is already a tough matchup. But I think it's a good point too, because if Godfrey's going to play 15 feet in, he's just going to put his head down and kind of do the same thing to AJ. And it's, hey man, don't reach. Just don't reach, hands up, just simple defense. Do not get these cheap fouls that you see freshmen get all the time. So I think foul trouble and how it's going to be officiated in this game is going to be critical as well, because look, if they're going to have a tight whistle, then I like BYU more in this spot because BYU is able to penetrate better, and then it's just AJ is going to be shooting 12, 13 free throws a game and putting their best players on the bench due to foul trouble. Other point, Hadim Mboop, get ready to play, man. I think this is an Mboop game, baby, because Karter Welling, like you talked about, likes to stretch the floor a bit. I think Kaba can struggle out there sometimes. His favorite thing in the world is staying in the paint, playing help defense and swatting shots. And Boop can go out there and play. He can stretch the floor and go out there and play against guys who want to shoot threes like Karter Welling can. So I think he plays some massive minutes in this game. He's going to be the unsung hero of this game as well. I had a couple other notes here as well. The AJ stuff, once again, the fouls and everything. This game, the battle of DeMarcus Harrison's fandom, probably. Shout out former BYU player and Clemson player. That's going to be a deep cut for some people. They're going to be like, DeMarcus Harrison, who's that?
Deep cut from me, Carter.
You don't know who DeMarcus Harrison is? I liked him. You're like, who is this BYU guy that averaged 3 points a game?
If he played for the ACC, then Carter knows him, folks. The man's got a superpower.
But like I said, I do think BYU, like if Caba's into foul trouble in this game, I really don't think it's the end of the world or anything for BYU, because I think the Mboop minutes will be fine. The matchups I think we'll end up seeing, I think we see Godfrey, RJ versus AJ, Dylan Hunter versus Rob Wright, Porter versus Moo Davis, Karter Welling versus Caba, and then I think we see Richie versus Jake Walline in this one. So it's going to be interesting, man. And the other thing about Clemson's defense too is I just don't want to see BYU. You talked about this earlier, like how BYU was able to share the ball against Cal Baptist. Clemson's going to force BYU into those ISO situations, and they're going to be okay with the ISO heavy offense. I just hope BYU doesn't fall into that trap too much, because yeah, it can work for a few possessions here and there, but then it doesn't work out in the long run in a game because guys don't have rhythm, and then it just throws everything off. Like one guy has rhythm in that circumstance, especially in college basketball. So they're going to try and force BYU into that game. I hope they don't fall into that as well. I still like BYU in this game. I think they force Clemson out into transition more, and I think Rob Wright really controls the tempo of this game. I like BYU to win this one 79-70.
Love it. Real quick on that point, I think I totally agree. Like, I think Rob Wright, again, blanket statement here, he's going to get to the basket. I don't think anyone in the country really could stay in front of that guy. It's up to him to choose, like, to finish. He's struggled a little bit, obviously finishing at the rim or finding that guy, and reading the defense. I trust him to do that. You're absolutely right. I think this is a points game. I think BYU kind of forces their transition, their speed of play in this one for Clemson. But I could see Clemson getting a little hot from three and keeping in it a little bit. I'm going to go BYU wins, though, 91-82.
Really? I just don't think there will be that many possessions in this game. But
I think BYU speeds it up. I think it stays quick.
Which is a fair point, because, Alabama was able to speed it up. Clemson, that game was played into what I think it was 90-84 was the final. And they played Georgia. If you go watch the Georgia-Clemson game coming into this one, you're like, so Georgia-Clemson are the two best teams in the country with the shot making they have. Like, those teams, the shots they were making in that game were outrageous. Shout out Cannon Catchings playing in that game.
Shout out, good attitude, Cannon Catchings.
Yeah. Shout out Cannon Catchings. Last couple points I have. The with BYU, with the way they're able to get out in transition, especially with any team, this is basketball 101, but it starts on defense. You got to force turnovers on defense. Use your length, use your athleticism, and force turnovers on this Clemson team. That's going to be tough because they rank 5th in the country in fewest turnovers per game. So they are a very disciplined, well-coached team. They just I really don't think they have a real heat check guy. The other Clemson stats I wanted to rattle off because I had these written down, and if you're a BYU fan, a little nuggets to know going into this one. Clemson 307th in pace, 219th in 3-point percentage. These are total Division I numbers, but they're a really good rebounding team. 21st in the country in rebounding.
Gotta clean up the board, especially with Godfrey. He's going to be living down there, and BYU's got to be able to keep him off the glass.
Yeah, so I think someone from the bench is going to have to come in and have a great game. Shocker, I know, and I think that's in Boop in this one. I know it's not going to come from threes or anything. Even though he can stretch the floor, Chase and I have been waiting for just one game where like in Boop drops like 2 or 3 corner threes, and it's like that just shifts the momentum of a game.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It could very well be Tuesday, Carter.
It's weird because I'm totally comfortable with him letting it fly.
Me too, more so than some of the other guys. I won't name names.
Yeah, exactly. So, anything else on the Clemson preview? I feel like that was a nice, tidy show. I think that was a nice preview for everyone.
Nice preview. Yeah, we're looking forward to it Tuesday. Hop in the chat with us. We will be going live, Carter from New York, and go Cougs. Do it for Jimmy V, man.
Do it for Jimmy V. I got the 30 for 30 queued up, ready to go for the plane ride. Cannot wait. Anyhow, make sure to subscribe at Church Ball Pod. Field of 68 Podcast Network on the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. At Chase_Roger0, at Karter B8. And once again, this is being recorded Friday, so we're talking right now. Chase, this really stinks. We're not in the college football playoff, man. This is brutal, but,
Proud of those Cougs.
Anyhow,
no.
Stupid.
Positive, man. We'll see you in Provo for a snowy playoff game, man. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, Jake Retzlaff versus Bear Bachmeyer in Provo. Can't wait.
I actually can't wait for that. Come on.
All right. We'll see y'all next time. Adios.